Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Global Speedrun Association and to our fourth and last playoff match for Super Mario Odyssey, basically deciding our fourth competitor who that goes to pace, and it's between Stravos and SuisaigaW. So probably the most, at least going into this, my most anticipated playoff match. Stravos and SuisaigaW have gone head-to-head multiple times in pretty stacked matches, such as the World Peace Grand Finals, the Any Percent tournament finals we had on this channel before. So these two have been clashing for the top spots before when it comes to racing, and both of them tend to do really good in races. Now, these are the fourth and fifth spot from the league. So technically, they are the closest out of every matchup we had. It's probably worth to say that, just objectively saying, the closest matchup we had so far was between Curbs and Equan. But I feel like this specific playoff matchup, this is the one that I could see going to 3 series. Once again, just recapping briefly on the playoff format. This is a best of 3 series, and whoever wins this gets 1 point. The first that reaches 2 points qualifies for pace. So there's up to 3 best of 3s. The first player that wins 2 series is qualifying for pace as our fourth and last competitor for Odyssey. Now, I think it's definitely interesting to also look a little bit beyond their performances from the league and also what they've been doing in the last days, because it's very notable to say that SuisaigaW has been spending a lot of time speedrunning Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is obviously a pretty anticipated speedrunning game at the moment, and Sui has been doing incredibly well in this game already. Now, I am not sure how much this would affect his performance, obviously. We have to say that if you practice a new speed game, obviously you spend a lot of time for it. So I don't know how much practice SuisaigaW has been dedicating for Odyssey at the same time, which is going to be interesting to see. Now he is going into the cap tower with a little bit of a lead, as Stravos actually struggles to get up the first step with the frog. Pretty uncommon mistake. But yeah, once again, I obviously also don't know how much practice Stravos has been doing necessarily. I just know that these two have been going head-to-head a lot in the past, and yeah, excited to see where we end up with this one. Obviously, Sui was able to get a pretty solid lead now, mainly through the cap tower, like the inside of the cap tower, the frog section. Stravos had a little bit of issues there, getting up the stairs. I mean, it's not really stairs, but the platforms, let's say platforms. So Sui is getting into this with a decent lead. See cap timings. It's probably either going to be a 22 or 23 coming out of SuisaigaW here. Looks like a 22 on his end. And for Stravos, we're actually looking at a 226. So 4-second lead already, just through Cap Kingdom. Another thing that's actually quite notable to say is that when sub hour was yet to be reached, SuisaigaW has been throwing together some pretty hot runs. I know he's been basically PBing almost every single day for a while. He took like a pretty long break, then he came back to the category and had some amazing runs. One run where he actually has literally 15 seconds of time save in Moon, and that's his PB, where he ended up getting a 1:00:17. So that run was not only sub 1 capable throughout the run, but actually like super low 1:00 capable when he when he basically made his way through Moon. But the pillars room there really kind of denied him getting that amazing time. So we'll see if he can still play on that level. Currently he's doing well, holding his lead. Good start so far in the boss fight. Stravos actually struggling here, which is very uncommon. It's actually so uncommon that I really want to make sure that the left screen is Stravos, because these kind of mistakes are mistakes you would be making, in my mind, when you took like a break, you know? Like, these are the kind of mistakes that I would be expecting from Sui, maybe because he's been playing a lot of Sekiro, but Stravos usually doesn't make these kind of mistakes. At least I personally usually don't see him making these mistakes. And that's a pretty big one. Sui now, as far as I know, obviously with a solid lead, probably up to like 8 seconds. Getting a 403 fade out here after that multi-moon, that will be a nice cue for us to see how big the lead actually is. And as we see for Stravos, it fades out at 11. So literally 8-second lead here after the boss fight. Now, obviously, the chat is already talking about it. There is still a lot of gameplay to be had here in Cascade, especially the chest clip section. We've seen many runners in this player format actually miss chest clip, or even bonk at the edge of the rock. This is obviously quite a costly mistake. There's also chest clip to be had. Now, imagine Suisaiga misses chest clip, Stravos gets it. We might already be super close again. Still going for a pretty fast chest clip though. Not waiting or anything. Will be able to clip through the ceiling. So Globes in first. And Stravos is actually really low. So he won't get the chest clip himself. Pretty much kind of undoing the mistake that Suisaiga did on that rock. Alright. Sui done with the kingdom. Let's see his fade out here. Happening at 5:16. What is Stravos gonna get on his end? We'll see that in a second. It's gonna be a 24. So still 8-second lead for Suisaiga. So basically the bonk that Sui had on that rock didn't matter at all because he got chest clip and Stravos didn't. So got the action guides happening here. Suisaiga not getting a fast one. I know from Esper that Stravos apparently has his secret setup here to speed up his action guide a little bit. That didn't seem super slow. That didn't seem super fast either. That was probably what he considers to be the medium action guide skip. I still don't really know. I'm probably gonna ask him in one of the interviews. Might have saved just a tiny bit of time there over Sui at that mashing section. Let's see, I'm assuming we are definitely going to be seeing, as throughout the entirety of the playoffs, this specific route here through sand. I am interested to see if we might see someone go for late crate doing pace, even though I doubt it. Once again, it's going to take a while, a long while, until runners probably feel confident enough to bust out the late crate strategies in a race. So I'm not expecting it in this one, and I'm probably also not expecting it at pace. It would be awesome though. Alright, both getting that Dune Moon easily. No missed spin pounds. And now leading up to Jam. Suisaiga going for the side flip on top of the ice pillar. Needs strategy to speed it up a little bit. Stravos. Okay, now I actually know that the left screen is Stravos. Because Stravos is the only person that actually goes for this strategy there on the archway, kind of jumping on the left side. Just making sure again. But this is literally the confirmation. It is in fact Stravos on the left. Let's go into Sphinx section here, but just let me explain the late crate route real quick. In the late crate route, this is the route that you'd see in in Nicrovita's first sub-hour or Goyuya's sub-hour as well. You basically skip that pipe room at the very start, and then you get the crate moon after you do double clip from the out-of-bounds section. It's a pretty precise movement section, and it makes the bird cycle incredibly tight, so it needs some... it needs incredibly clean gameplay to actually get, but if you get it, you can save up to 4 seconds doing that route. But Swing Slip looking good so far. Suisaiga still leading. But actually, Sui must have missed the first, but I was probably explaining late crate too much because Stravos has been catching up pretty drastically. Actually going to be taking the lead now after Sui really struggles to get into that single clip section. Oh, rolls off that block though, so he has to go back, do the long jump from there, and Sui is literally right behind him. That's exciting. Gonna have to see if they can sync up soon even. Currently, Stravos is still holding a little bit of a lead, but that is extremely close right now. Grabbing that moon on the leaning pillar. One that you would rarely see miss runners, but actually Curbs in one of his playoff races ended up missing this specific moon. Is probably the least like the easiest moon, quote unquote, but you can miss everything in this game. You shouldn't take anything for granted. This game is entirely based off of movement sections that are not necessarily easy. So let's not underestimate anything. Both of them going for the very optimal cactus strats here, where you basically just move the cactus a little bit over like a pixel, and then you would be able to actually ground pound there. Stravos and Sui able to make that work. Now, for Stravos, actually, the bird cycle here, still able to grab that bird on the first lap. It was pretty close because he had a little bit of issues on that second lap. Now, Sui's bird is actually already in the second lap because he had even more issues getting into the swings the second time. Overall, not too bad, but he had to go a little bit more out of the way. You see Stravos is already doing the nodes here, as Sui's just catching up at this point. But he's actually able to get the single spin throw nodes as well. And very close to this. We are talking like 3 or 4 second difference at most. Let's see, Stravos globing at 58, Sui globing at 01. So 3 seconds of difference here between Stravos and Sui going into lake. And Lake's probably going to be one of our first kingdoms where we are going to be seeing some route difference. We've been talking about it a lot, and Strauss actually at this point is the only runner that doesn't go for Lake Clip in these runs. And it's not for no reason. Lake Clip is incredibly finicky trick. You got to get it fast to start saving time with it. If you do get it quick, it's a nice time save. Probably saving up to 5 seconds if you do it very well. In theory, even more time save could be acquired with that route, but it would require an amazingly fast setup to actually clip into that wall. But we'll see that play out. Maybe Sui is actually able to get a lead here just due to Lake Clip. That would be quite cool to see, since this is almost a live comparison. Let's remember back starting this kingdom off, Stravos had a 3-second lead. We'll check back after this kingdom. Alright, yeah, we see Sui at least lining up for it right now. Doesn't get Cappy to clip immediately, but the second time Cappy goes through the wall. And Sui is managing to actually steer through that outer bond section. Very interesting camera. It almost seemed like the camera was kind of stuck above the ceiling. He did grab the checkpoint though, and second try, Lake Clip is definitely still going to be saving time. Once again, it's going to be interesting to see at the end of the kingdom how we are actually looking at, like. Also worth to still say, if you do this route, and you might have just seen SuisaigaW get this Cappy text. Cappy is basically talking to you the first time you open up the map and a checkpoint is available. Cappy talks to you, explaining you can warp to checkpoints by clicking them. Since SuisaigaW basically has this text out of his way already, he's not going to be getting that later in Metro Kingdom. Stravos will though, so no matter what the timer says, Sui is around 1.5 seconds further ahead, so it's like 1.5 seconds closer than what the timer might suggest leaving this kingdom. Yeah, this is going to be very close now, leaving Lake, even though it mightn't necessarily seem like it. We see Stravos now grabbing that triple moon here. So he's technically done with his kind of movement throughout the kingdom, but that triple moon, as we see, is one of the longest animations that this game has. You kind of dance around with the moon, the red screen shows up, and now it's not even over because Mario has to warp like away. Then we're getting a little white fade out, and then he does like another weird dance. So Sui is actually going to be ahead after this lake, showing that this route can certainly save some nice time, and he's going to get another 1.5 second of time save in Metro Kingdom. So a very nice time save that he was able to acquire there through that lake clip. Now going into Wooded, which is a scary kingdom. We might actually see the next routing change coming through immediately here in this kingdom. There is the, what we like to call tree route, which is a thing that Stravos also has been mentioning as a time save that he might not necessarily have to go for at the moment. It's a pretty small one. But actually, I'm not completely sure. I know that he hasn't been looking at Lake Clip and Late Crate, which are both very finicky tricks, kind of slight route changes. The tree route, I'm not completely sure if he's going to be doing it now or not. I'm pretty sure Sui will. He has actually been one of the very first to implement that. Right? Stravos actually missing... Oh no, he didn't. It looked like for me on the corner of my head that he might have missed that bunny. He just hit it at the very close spot. It's totally fine. Right, 190 coins here for Sui, 117 for Stravos. Stravos actually struggling to talk to the shopkeeper initially. What we like to do is go into first person before we initiate the dialogue, which causes the camera to pan less if you're standing in the correct spot. Sui showed off how that can look, but Stravos actually a little bit too far away to get the time save from it and struggling to talk with him in the first place. Now we do see SuisaigaW go for the tree route, while Stravos is opting to go for the original wooded route. So you won't necessarily get the best uproot boost, so his time save is definitely not going to be huge over Strav, if anything. He can basically allow himself to play a little bit more sloppy though, because this route is technically definitely faster. Now Stravos with a very nice nut clip, good out of bounds move, and this is something that SuisaigaW drastically needs to be able to keep up. Also want to focus my eyes on Stravos here because he likes to go for the triple jump strat. He actually doesn't go for it this time. Wow, Sui. Very quick nut clip and almost flawless out of bounds movement there. He took a little bit of time to actually grab the moon, but the section where he jumped up was fairly clean. So it's going to be going for the single jump here on top of the ramp. And yeah, so once again, keep in mind, Stravos does have to get the story moon here in Wooded, which is the piranha plant that you have to kill, and then get the moon from it, which seems fast because that moon, you get it right here, right? You just jump on top of the piranha plant's head, and you come back from that nut around the corner. That's actually not the nut around the corner. This nut is called nut on the dead end, as far as the moon name is concerned. When you come back, you just pick up the moon. Seems fast and technically is a fast moon grab. Now that moon itself is the problem. That moon itself has not only this animation here where Mario spins around, it has several animations afterwards. Also a cutscene is playing that shows you that you just progressed the kingdom state that you have to skip. Now, even though he is going to have that cutscene and also this little animation, we are probably close to even here. Yeah, both of them actually Stravos with a tiny bit of a lead now, and this is not necessarily due to the route itself, it's more due to his execution. SuisaigaW struggled a bit grabbing that moon out of bounds. He had to go back. He also didn't get the best uproot boost, so we are pretty much synced already. This is actually really interesting to see. Now, technically, we should probably be completely synced. If you remember, I was talking earlier about how SuisaigaW is going to get another 1.5 second of time save in Metro because of that tappy warp tech. So if we would factor that into the equation, they would pretty much be exactly at the same position of the run. Alright, both of them grabbing that moon on the top here just fine. Making their way now to that speared skip section. Another reason why we actually save time with this nut clip route is because we're able to efficiently skip that boss fight, and if we can, we'd like to skip all of the boss fights, so we found a way to skip the one in Lake. SuisaigaW showed that off with very big success, and this route also a good chunk faster than actually fighting the boss. Optimally, you could save close to 6 seconds with amazing movement over an amazing boss fight, but on average, I'd say most of these runners will still save 3 seconds getting those moons instead of actually fighting the boss. Now Stravos with one thing that, if you've watched a couple of races, especially when I was commentating, I was always saying, I've never really seen Stravos miss up in pipes, and that's the first time I see him take damage early on. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make that first cycle, and it looks like he won't. Oh, he actually has to dive into the fuzzy cell again. Should have probably waited a little bit longer, but it's a huge time loss. Oh my god, gets another bonk. The fuzzies are actually attacking him again. 1 HP. Jesus Christ, this pipeway. Get out of there, dude. Very frustrating ending there for Stravos. Not only taking... Actually, 3 times. He took damage 3 times in that pipeway. Missed the first cycle probably, and that sounds like a lot. And it is a lot. But he might have lost close to 12 seconds there. We'll see at the end of this kingdom here, SuisaigaW with an 1840 fade out. And yeah, that's actually almost pretty accurate. Stravos now with a 54, so 14 seconds behind after that pipeway. One of the biggest mistakes you can make in that subroom, obviously taking damage and then also missing the cycle. A very annoying room to practice. You need to... It's like the difference with this room and other subrooms in this game is if you make some mistakes in other subrooms, you lose like a second or two. But if you make any mistake in that subroom, you're getting big time losses because you're off the cycle. Alright, let's see Cloud though. Pretty basic boss fight. King all we do really is move to the boss fight platform fast. Punch Bowser. Do a little bit of manipulation to let him jump a little less. It looks like they're pretty much one phase apart at this point. Stravos on the second one. Well, this is the last phase. For Sui, who's then going to make his way over to Ghost. Good fight from Sui. No miss on these fast head grabs. Looks like Stravos is going to be able to do the same. And we are going into Lost. And we've seen actually, especially in the Econ versus Curbs series, we've seen some very scary Lost Kingdoms with big time losses here. Especially this last section can never be underestimated. Not only grabbing the Cage Moon, but also grabbing the Bridge Moon and then even staying alive optimally afterwards. You can never forget that that's a thing. And now Sui actually showing off something that I've always liked, and he was the first one, other than Goyuya, I think, who actually showed it off in runs, which is homing your cap back in with a motion control input there. Let's see if Stravos does the same. He won't. He basically just dives into Cappy's position. But if you home to make Cappy return to you, you are basically guaranteed to get the Cap return jump, which is giving you a little bit more height, which actually allows us to do that tree jump in the first place. Pretty finicky input, but makes that jump incredibly consistent. Very nice synced moon grabs here. Oh, that was actually perfect sync on that moon addition to the counter. Sui doing well so far. Arguably the easier part of Lost now, up until the cage triple jump. Good job. Gets those moons. And is going to make his way over to tree triple. Not tree triple, the cage triple. Hopefully getting that. Actually not getting Cappy stolen by the Trapetal. Unfortunate. Trapetal being a little bit lazy. Not extending the heads enough, the hands enough to grab Cappy. So a little bit of a time loss there. Is going to grab that Bridge Moon though. Also with the up throw dive. The very end actually performing an up throw to dive for more height, making that section look clean. Stravos opting for the original movement, but actually bonking on that bridge. Now, it's not the biggest deal. He's gonna die and it's gonna be spawned back at the Odyssey, but his coin count just dropped down to 67, which in the grand scheme of things is not necessarily a time loss or anything, but always like to remind everybody that if you don't have 100 coins going into snow, you cannot buy the shop moon, which is part of the route. So he might either have to go to Seaside first or get some extra coin scraps along the way. I always just like going to Seaside first. Would obviously change up our comparison here in the race a little bit, but would probably be the faster choice regardless. Now it's only 32 coins. There might be some amount of coins that you can pick up fast enough, but we'll see how that unfolds. Right, Night Metro time. SuisaigaW with the fast movement across the roofs. Being able to get through that section just fine. Stravos is hopefully going to be able to match him. Gets the triple jump off as well. I'm going to secure. Yeah, obviously it's basically the better way is to say you need 90 coins entering snow, because there's like 10 coins that you can get without time loss in snow. And I just realized that there is actually 5 coins laying around here. Ooh, Stravos actually rolling across, pretty fancy. That's fast. Oh, Sui struggling a little bit, actually jumping on that pole is going to be losing some time there. Still with the lead, but Stravos is actually closing that gap a little bit now. Alright, now it's time for Mecha Wiggler, which might literally actually close that gap entirely. If Stravos gets a really good one. Stravos is known to understand that boss fight well. There is only so much understanding to be done though. And this boss fight does include some of the rare RNG sections of the speedrun. The Wiggler shoots out of the wall in different patterns, which are random as far as we know at the moment. So you need to react to your pattern accordingly to get a fast 2-cycle. And even what you want is a 2-cycle. You can get a 3-cycle, which is horrible, loses like 25 seconds and is going to be detrimental for these guys' runs. I assume we won't see that, but even if we get two cycles, they might be drastically different in terms of speed, and Stravos might be able to basically bridge the gap a little bit. So, you know, Sui's pattern here looking very nice to be able to react to, is actually getting hit, but looks like he doesn't miss any shots, shoots relatively fast, but Stravos on his side actually missing two shots right there. I mean two parts of the Wiggler, one shot that he had to make to actually get that back. Overall, probably a tiny bit slower than the Wiggler that Sui had, but not too bad. Let's see what the difference actually is after this multi-moon grab. Fade out coming in here for Sui. 55, 25, 55. For Stravos, we are looking at a 26:02 basically. So we can pretty safely say 7 seconds separating these two runners at the moment, going into the day portion of the run, which is not much at all. The day metro part, very movement intensive. There is 2 story moons that we collect, but the rest is just flying through the city. Obviously still starting off with the capture warp here at the start. Sui is going to be able to get a good one. Stravos hopefully able to match that. Now Scooter Clip is also coming up here. One of the other big tricks in Day Metro that can cause you a lot of time loss. Sui is able to get that really quick with the drive-by. Stravos will bonk at the cage for a tiny bit, but at least able to clip into the cage to get the moon fast. But Sui actually missing that capture warp. Not a big time loss, but frustrating stuff, since that is still going to lose him some time. Is still fast enough though to avoid that taxi, which is on the cycle. Grabs that box though. That ledge grab there on the crate is a little bit annoying, because obviously you have to let go before they can move again. And now they basically meet each other in the girder. Just say hi to each other real quick. One is rolling out, one is rolling in.
Hi. Oh.
And Sui now starting to acquire the musicians, obviously starting with the drummer, but this is incredibly close. Now keep in mind, Sui is going to gain around 1.5 seconds after he talks to the bassist, because he did Lake Clip earlier, so you won't have the Cappy text. You will actually see the difference pretty easily on your screen soon. It's gonna extend his lead a little bit, out of seemingly nowhere. Oh, I'm actually surprised that still counted as a spin pound on top of this grab, because he kind of spin pound the leg, still made it work. That hitbox is a little bit extending, so you don't necessarily have to ground pound in the middle of the grab part. But yeah, it's not even worth to compare right now, because SuisaigaW, as you see, amazingly fast warp. He was basically selecting that flag while the screen was still black. Now Stravos is going to have to deal with this Cappy text here, so losing a little bit more time. Also different strategies here. Stravos is going for a single jump off. He basically dove out of that alcove, did a spin pound, and single jumped his way across to get that trash moon. Suisaiga went for the optimal triple jump, but that's not a big difference. Oh, but Sui will actually miss Tippy here, as we like to say. The moon on top of the city order. That's not going to allow him to actually perform the spin pound. That's a pretty big time loss overall, because if Stravos is lined up correctly, and he's going to get the spin pound instead. And that makes you fall into that moon way quicker. So he already made up a ton of time just off of that little mistake that we had. Very fancy there from him, though. Spin jumping into that moon is definitely not a difference at all. It just looks cooler. Style points still count. Alright, that's your coins, though. Didn't see them as Stravos entered that room. Suisaiga is definitely fine to go to Snow first, but Stravos is at 84. And if you want any extra coins in Snow, you can do like a cap throw and get them, but mostly should be slower than just playing Snow as fast as possible and going to Seaside first. So it would be the smarter choice here to go to Seaside first for Stravos. Right, let's see. Fade out's gonna happen here. This is gonna be probably the last time we actually see an accurate lead for quite a while, since they probably will be splitting up here. There we go. 24 fade out for Suisaiga. He's going to be making his way over to Snow. And 28 for Stravos. Only 4 seconds between these two runners. I'm assuming Suisaiga is going to go to Snow. I'm assuming Stravos is going to go to Seaside. And he will. So 4 seconds is the last time we've actually seen these guys. As far as the lead is concerned, 4 seconds lead for Sui. But we will only actually get another visual representation of the racing situation when we meet again in Luncheon Kingdom. Because don't get confused, it's not like Stravos just skipped the kingdom. He went to Seaside first, his coin count was low. You get some free coins that are basically on your way in that kingdom. So that's why he made that choice. Which is respectable now. Seaside, actually one of Stravos' strongest suits. Once again, I always like to say, this used to be called the Stravi side. Literally Stravos Kingdom. He basically always understood that kingdom very well, even in the time when we were still doing the Flower Rocket refresh strat on that Nodes moon. That is out of the run right now. We are doing the clip at the boundary of the kingdom to get into the Sphinx loading zone. We'll get there soon. At the same time, Suisaiga making his way through Shiveria. Looking good so far. You might see him go for the Snow clip, the Snow Moon clip, which is actually a clip that is heavily used in the World Peace category. Once again, we did see both of these guys actually in the grand finals of the World Peace tournament we had on this channel. So I'm assuming he's going to at least try for that strategy. And this looks like a good spot. I think he's through the wall right now, and he is going to be able to ground pound roll down and then enter this loading zone from the side, which is obviously faster than having to go all the way around and roll across that hallway. Very fast from Suisaiga there in that movement here through the poison room, or the blowy joey room, as you like to say. Shoutouts to the blowy joey. Good stuff, and actually leaves a Spiny alive here intentionally. This is something I always still like to point out, because whenever a new viewer comes into an Odyssey race and they see that a Spiny lives, they would at first assume that that is a mistake, because obviously you want to get rid of all of the Spinies, right? But actually, if you leave one Spiny alive and then get rid of it with a cap throw, that's faster overall, because the camera will pan a little bit less. At the same time, a bunch of things happening here at the same time. Stravos is now going to be setting up for the fish clip. Lets the fish sit on the boundary, moves himself out of that invisible force, and is able to clip the fish just fine. Which allows him to grab this moon from out of bounds, and obviously also enter the loading zone here for an extremely quick last moon before he warps back to the ship. Good stuff. Solid Seaside from Stravos. He had a little bit of issues in that fish movement section underwater. Was struggling quite a bit on that chest moon. But overall, looking clean for Seaside. But Sui is also playing amazing so far in Snow. Haven't really seen any big flaws. So, I mean, I can't really tell. But if they both have equal kingdoms here, the lead might just stay. Haven't really seen any mistakes from both of them other than that fish mistake. So I'd say like maybe Stravos would be like a second further behind. But that's something you cannot really judge, obviously. Especially not now, as Sui goes into the snowdrum part of the run. Incredibly precise jump at the very end of Snow Kingdom. Still seeing people miss that one. But everybody got a lot better at it. Used to be pretty scary. Lots of runs died there. Seems like they understand a little bit more. Actually kind of saying hi to each other again now. At the start here, close to the Odyssey. But Sui is already about to leave now. Hopefully managing to get the jump, and he will make it pretty easily. And it's going to make his way over to Seaside. Now, Seaside is the shorter split of the two. Could say on average, Seaside would probably a little bit more than 3 minutes and 20 seconds, while Snow is on average probably more like 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the highest level of play. Good stuff by Sui. Gets Snowdrum here without an issue, and is going to make his way to Seaside. And now we go into the reverse perspective. Let's judge Stravos' gameplay here through Snow. He's currently making easy work here of that movement in Chavaria. And at the same time, Sui's now still traveling to Seaside. Stravos also going for Snow Clip once again. These are two seasoned World Peace runners. He's also going to be able to make that work. Very nicely done. Also going to be able to enter that loading zone from there. Now, Stravos actually the person that initially found out about that keep one spiny alive strategy. Very likes to lap out these rooms, likes to lap out the small stuff like camera panning. He's always been very efficient at that. So I'm assuming he's at least going to try to spare one spiny's life before he kills it. Very cruel, but it does save time. And gets that one as well, so pretty clean Snow starts for both of them. Sui, actually, I was about to say, after he grabs this moon, he's gonna make his way into the underwater section, but actually falls down, not getting that wall jump. There's like a weird rainbow spin, also missing the moon and getting a very costly bonk. That actually might lose as much time as he was currently leading by. So it will be very interesting to see these guys actually leave their respective kingdoms and enter Luncheon. Gets the triple low flow, captures the cheap relatively quick, and is now going to be moving across that underwater section, which is pretty basic up until the fish clip comes in. So not too much to see on your right screen at the moment. It's probably, I mean, I was going to say it's probably a little bit smarter to look at the left screen right now, but after Stravos is done with this movement section here, he is going to sit in a story moon cutscene for a little bit, obviously. Gets a nice roll cancel off to grab the moon. So not too much happening at this point, so he's going to be grabbing some free coins, but he doesn't even need them anymore. Right. Now, after Stravos buys this moon, he obviously has to still go through the challenge of the snowdram jump, the snow painting jump, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully being able to get that for him. Now, it's also interesting to say something that I was actually not explaining the last time, that Stravos got through this clip section. Even though the actual clip here is not hard at all. I'd say this is the easiest way to get out of bounds in this game, other than there's like some rolls in Metro Kingdom. But doing this fish clip is the easy part. Now, grabbing this moon, though, optimally, that can be tricky. You can actually clip back in. But at the same time, Stravos is performing Snowdrum, hopefully being able to get that, and he will. But Sui was actually very close there to the wall, almost clipping back and bounce. And if you do, you actually have to talk to the Sphinx to be able to get access to this last moon that you need. But he actually globing it right now, signalizing to us, okay, he should be in a pretty comfortable leading position right now, which is mainly due to SuisaigaW making those mistakes at that third moon. So we'll see that come into fruition soon. We are going to be seeing these respective fade-outs happening soon here. That's a 28 snow fade-out for Stravos. Let's see the seaside fade-out for SuisaigaW happening pretty soon. Yeah, this might actually be close to 38. It's a little bit more even, it's a 40. So we are looking at a 12-second lead for Stravos. going into Luncheon. Now, Luncheon also pretty scary kingdom. The last kingdom before we go into the quote-unquote real late game, starting off with Ruined, which is kind of like of our first big break in the kingdom. This entire mid-game is so intense, from Metro all the way through up until Luncheon. But there's a lot that can happen in this kingdom. We've seen multiple seconds of time loss, especially in the turnip clip section. We've actually seen some people fail Sol triple jump, such as Suisaiga did right there. Actually going to be failing it a second time. I'm not sure if it's even the best choice to even do this jump right now. He is still going to be trying to triple jump off of that Sol pile. Gets the up throw to stall on the wall, but that must have been a big time loss, close to 10 or more seconds there, coming out of Suisaiga. Now, I was also going to list that there's this Podaboo cycle that you have to catch before entering the Fork sub-room, and many more advanced strategies, but that's a very big time loss for Sui, missing the jump not only once but twice. Okay, that's once again not run ending and not race ending at all. It's just the Stravos lead might have just grown to 25 seconds or something similar. So we will see that is going to develop throughout Luncheon, because Ruined is not necessarily known to really throw a race on its head. I would be surprised if anything changes in Ruined, but this kingdom is far from over. So much more sections to go through. So let's watch this first before we make any guesses. Quick movement here from Stravos. You can always see how fast a person actually is in this little sub-room while looking at these platforms coming out of the lava. Obviously, you only want to see kind of the little nipple, or whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call it, peeking out of that lava. That is when you know you played well. But as soon as you actually see a little bit of that blue part or a little bit of that platform, you know you were not that quick. We see for Sui also very quick moon grab. It doesn't necessarily matter, because you can grab the moon either way. It's just like a visual representation of how fast you were. But Sui actually going to be falling into lava and actually going to be taking a death as well. There is this little ledge that he would have been potentially able to recover to, but the ledge didn't really cooperate. This is incredibly weird to actually land on. So he's not only going to be taking damage 3 times, but going to be taking a death and obviously respawning exactly at the location he previously was in, but still losing a good chunk of time. Alright, Stravos going for a very interesting angle for that roll cancel. He almost didn't even roll cancel to any side. He almost just roll canceled straight and was still able to get the entire distance covered. Gets that Podaboo cycle incredibly quick so far, doing very well in Luncheon. Alright, let's look at this Forks room though. Still a scary room. We've seen amazing paces actually found their end in this room, but Stravos is looking to not make that mistake here. He wants to keep this lead, obviously, through Luncheon. And once again, as a reminder, this is the first race today of a potential best of 3 series. Gets that Podaboo jump, no problem. Sui now entering Forks, hopefully also being able to move through the sub-room quickly without any unfortunate deaths, which is the most, I guess, the biggest risk in the sub-room. But let's look at turnip clip, because we have seen multiple mistakes. I don't like this turnip position at all. Stravos is probably going to have to readjust the turnip. This should be fine. I don't love that position. Oh, that's actually not going to work. Yep. He still wants to make this position work, and he might be able to do so, but actually not getting it. Now, he's still not resetting up the turnip. This is a tremendous time loss. I'm not even sure if this position is going to work. Still not pushing him through the cage. He has to reset up the turnip now. Sui might actually get his lead back here. What is even happening? This should work now. Wow. And we got a race. We got a race again, boys. Turnip clip is still scary, and we are less than 10 seconds apart right now, I'd say. That was really weird. He really wanted to make that turnip clip work, and I think he could have, but Cappy and wasn't really cooperating, capturing the pan bro quickly. which caused the Panbro to slide to the left, right? So he wasn't actually able to capture the Panbro in time, making that position work. Had to reset up a third time, and that is incredibly frustrating. Now Sui is really close again at the end of lunch, even after a death. That just goes to show how much of a timeless turnip clip can actually be. Oh, Sui almost sliding down there though, behind the wall, surrounded by tall mountains, which is the name of that moon. Stravos is still going to be taking his lead all the way through Ruined, but it drastically shrunk. Actually, not really. I'm actually excited to see what the ending is going to say here, because maybe he still is keeping this 12-second lead. It might be a little bit less though. It increased in Luncheon, but it also decreased again. Alright, that's it for Luncheon though. Not really anything to do after grabbing that Multen Moon other than skipping 2 cutscenes and then globing in. And here we go. Yeah, that's less than 12 seconds though. So overall in Luncheon, the lead he had acquired in that mid-game actually shrinking. There we go, this is our visual representation again. Let's look as the screen is closing here. This is a 45-10 for Sui, and it might be a 16. A 16 for Sui, and it's a 17 for Sui, and a 10 for Stravos. So 7 seconds, a little bit less probably than 7 seconds, is what Stravos is currently dealing with as far as his lead is concerned. Now going into Ruined, I did say earlier, it's probably not going to change drastically here. The only things that you can really mess up in Ruined, other than dying, which basically loses you the race, is the initial movement and then maybe a little bit more optimal performance on that dragon fight. But Stravos is not only actually going to get a weird roll angle, he also gets a bonk on one of the swords there sticking close to the staircase. So he actually already lost a little bit of time, and not enough to lose his lead, but enough to actually be notable when they leave this kingdom. Alright, but other than that, we won't see much in the dragon fight. But guys, let me tell you why we are even here. What are these guys racing for? This is our playoff match, our last playoff match actually out of 4 for the Super Mario Odyssey any percent league, and the Super Mario Odyssey any percent race side of things. For PACE. PACE is our first competitive live speedrunning event, which is going to be taking place in actually 15 days is when... 15 days is where I'm going to be flying there. But it's at the end of this month, 5th of April is the first day where we are going to be starting our event in Maryland at the Xanadu Games location. Pretty nice venue where also Smash Weeklies do take place. It's going to be epic. Obviously also going to be streaming that live. But yeah, so far, Nitro, Vida, Chaos Pringle and Lil Curbs, one of the most infamous Odyssey runners, have already been making their way there as confirmed competitors. They've been winning their playoff series. And these 2 guys are now duking it out for that last spot. And I don't even want to make any predictions, because both of them easily deserve it still, and both of them are amazing runners, and I would like to see both of them there easily performing live against these other 3 top runners. It's going to be awesome to see that one. And I'd say it's actually quite interesting that Stravos is performing this way in a race. This is probably one of his weakest races I've seen. This guy usually doesn't make big mistakes. Very rare to see him make such a big mistake at Tournament. We might have seen it before, but overall also the mistake in Pipeway, the mistake in Cascade. These are like mistakes I'm not usually expecting from Stravos. So there is an argument to be made that he might just bounce back in Game 2 and actually return to his peak performance, and then maybe able to win his matches. But at the same time, Sui's not playing bad at all. He had some pretty big time losses, especially that death in Luncheon. But if that wouldn't have happened, he would actually be in the lead right now. Let's keep that in mind. Playing very well. I'm not sure how much practice he has been doing once again. Exploring Sekiro a little bit as a speed game. But at the same time, he's not looking off at all. So 6 seconds now. The lead. Stravos probably losing a little bit more than a second on that bonk earlier. Maybe making up some time during the boss fight, but this is it. Going into Bowser's now, the last 2 kingdoms of the run. Once again, this is only this run. We will at least have 1 more match today in this series. Depending on who's gonna win. We might even have 3. But let's start this up. We won't see any... Well, we will actually see some pretty neat stuff here out of SuisaigaW. Something that he has always been doing. This very cool looking triple jump on the side of the wall. That then he's going to be able to actually capture that wire with a spin throw. As he's still next to it. Looks very cool. Might not necessarily save a huge amount of time. You can opt for different movement strategies that are pretty close to the same speed. But in terms of fan, this is by far the coolest looking. That's at least what I want to say. If we exclude 2-player strategies, which are actually fantastic in that area. And I also think that is actually where this jump is inspired from. This specific way of getting up to the wire is, I think, something that they do in 2-player to be able to set up a capture warp, getting that moon behind the wall. Very cool looking strat, but once again, something we don't have access to. Now going into shards, though shards is, at least in 1-player, the most movement intense part of this run. Not of this run, but of this kingdom. Stravos already done with the dive back strategy there. Suisaiga is going to get it himself, which is what we call that strategy, where basically throw Cappy back and then dive into the other direction. They have to be doing that again here. It's not as tight on that 4th shard. Still matters. It looks like pretty clean charts here from both of them. At least no major mistakes getting the dive back. Sui had a little bit of issues actually keeping his speed on top of the roof. But that's about it. Still extremely close all the way through. So I think this is a good sign for this series. Now Stravos going for his unique way of actually setting up this capture warp. Normal ground pounding on top of that railing, and that will actually be a little bit better for him here than the setup Sui went for. He went for the most optimal setup, which is the spin pound, but actually bonking on his first attempt. Has to redo that entire thing. Now going into the bunnies. It's time. We are going to be seeing Harriet first all throughout today, I would assume. These guys are classy speedrunners with good values, you know. Can do nothing but respect them, personally. But yeah, regardless, let's see. We are going to be seeing at least the first-person strategies here from both of them. Neither Strav nor Sui going for the spin pound version that Equan has been doing in his last series. It's a little bit faster because you obviously bridge the gap to Harriet faster. But it's pretty tricky to time that correctly. Alright, topper time. Stravos already in the 3rd phase, and that was a good topper. Not a big problem for him taking that boss down. No worries. But Suisaiga is going to be close. Very close. Going into the last section of bosses, or the max split, which basically consists of 1 single moon and then a climb in the boss fight. Let's see how this plays out. Let's look at the way Stravos is going to grab this moon here. This is actually quite detrimental. We've seen people drastically slow down there. He actually takes a little bit of time breaking those crates. That's still very nice. We have seen runners, actually, yeah, we see Sui here go for a different strategy, actually single jumping off of that closer ledge, which isn't necessarily slower. I mean, it is probably just a little bit, but makes it very easy to hit the right crate. And he was actually making his way through that crate very quickly. So overall, probably just tying Stravos there. This run is going to come down to hopefully good mech fights from both of them. And then we might have the classical moon race, something that is still awesome to see every single time. That's what I'm hoping for at least, but for that we are gonna have to see some good mechs. So let's see if Stravos is gonna be able to do that for him. Alright, and mech fight starting out for Stravos. He's probably going to be going for the good old backflip climb. At least gets those 2 backflips to work. Is going to be getting a fast spin pond on top of Rango. Hopefully making his way over to Speedrun. This is actually the riskiest phase to fall in. If you fall on this topper phase, you will actually... I was saying Speedrun earlier, you would actually take the biggest time loss. He is going to be able to get that though. At the same time, SuisaigaW just started out on that fight. I hope he's also going to be able to actually hit topper in time. Will make these dives work. Actually, spin pounding quite low on the bubble, but I hope he is going to be able to get back onto the mech, and I think he will. Now, this is obviously the detrimental part. That last hit, not only the last one, but also the one on Harriet. Stravos getting a very quick spin pound, at least on Harriet, but this is the one that really counts. Getting that spin pound in time, and he will. So Stravos is down and done. He's down for a race into the moon and done with the mech fight. Hopefully Sui is gonna agree on that. Now gets thrown back, fast dive, fast spin pound, target acquired. We are gonna be having a race. And that is actually gonna be quite interesting. Out of all runners, this specific matchup actually had the most random mistakes on Moonskip. I still look back because I was casting Odyssey here on GSA ever since we started. All of the tournaments, and we've seen these guys face off 2 times in the grand final. And both of them, obviously both being best of 3s, had like really weird mistakes in Mooncave skip. So I'm excited to hopefully see them actually do well there and not fail. Then again, it would obviously be, I mean, I'm not trying to jinx anyone, but it would be quite cool if Stravos would lose a little bit of time. I mean, not meaning that, like, badly. Would obviously make the race closer, though. Now, the one thing that I do not want to see him do is die on that Moonskip, which is actually something that happened to him in our league earlier. So we actually with a weird mistake there. Not getting Cappy to hit the globe on his first try. So we are actually going to be seeing a representation of the lead that Stravos has again here shortly. We can safely say, at least call this a 56-10 for him. So he's going to be getting a 23. So 13-second lead for Stravos. What was probably around 10. I mean, around 12 as they finished mech, but Sui had an issue there hitting the globe. And 13 seconds is a nice, at least, buffer to work with. But at the same time, missing Moonskip once, we are back to a 4-second lead. And these 4 seconds you can easily lose in pillars. Not trying once again to jinx anyone here. Obviously, we do have the Bowser fight as well, where missing a phase would be incredibly costly. But let's check this out. Stravos goes back towards the cross. Actually getting a really weird roll angle there on that crater. It's going to roll slightly to the left, and that probably must have already lost him a second or 2. I'd say a second, but definitely noticeable time loss. Gets both the rocket flowers though. That's obviously always important, being able to run across that section. And it is Moonskip time. He was actually pretty far to the left, but he at least gets the wall kick, that's what matters. Is gonna take his time to actually run across that upper ledge, so he is gonna be fine. Sui not even kept stalling. Very quick as well. Also taking his time running across that. Okay, I don't even know what happened. And he doesn't probably either, because his camera clipped through the structure. And he might have gotten surprised. Well, I was about to say, that's the one thing that happened to Stravos in one race. Like, his camera, he got like a no-clip. And his camera showed like the out-of-bounds section. That probably caused him to get confused and miss his cap dive. I don't know. That was like one of the weirdest things I've seen all season. And it's probably gonna cause SuisaigaW to drop game 1. Unless Stravos makes a big mistake in the escape. But what a way to end it. That's extremely weird. Yeah, very anticlimactic, I agree. That's such a weird thing. Like, that almost the same camera happened to him in that last one, but it like clipped through the bridge. Like, You can go back and clip that. His camera was like out of bounds. Don't want to make any more comments on it because I don't really understand what happened, but that might have thrown him off so much that he actually just missed that cap dive. So incredibly weird stuff for Sui there. Very anticlimactic ending to probably that first race, unless Stravos does make a mistake in that escape section, which I'm not going to completely rule out at least. We've seen it before, so let's at least observe what we are going to be seeing here at the end. Because the one thing that we want to keep in mind, and that's actually going to be some nice closure for me, if Stravos doesn't make a mistake in escape, because he didn't make a mistake in Moon, he would have won either way. So let's at least think about it that way, right? Like, if Stravos doesn't make a mistake right now, he would have won either way. Unless he misses, like, 13 seconds in pillars. So that is at least some closure for us, that there was never a chance for Sui to win, and he just made that bad mistake. Keep in mind that the time difference actually doesn't really matter anymore. Stravos did make a little bit of a swiping mistake there starting off that escape section, but that is nothing that would have lost him like 10 seconds. So as long as he doesn't make a big mistake, we can at least say, okay, he would have won either way. Really dumb mistake there for Sui, but it's going to make it a little bit easier to digest. Okay, now going into the 2D section, which is worth to say, if he does make a mistake right here in Stravos, that is, he could actually still lose. He is making an easy... He has an easy time going through that section. Actually, a little bit slow there onto D. But once again, nothing that would have lost him like 10 seconds. Now, if he actually does miss early pillar, I'm kind of mad, because he might have made enough slow mistakes in this like escape section right now to be for this, like, at least for this race, being able to be extremely close. So please just get first like early pillar, and let's just call it a day for this race, because we are going to be having another one. And let's look if that works out fine. Okay, gets a claw in there, but actually still, I think, hitting all of the shots. Yep, he will. So that's fine. Unless the camera tricked me. No, he's fine. He got the early pillar. Had a little bit of an issue there, but this was not enough mistakes overall to make him drop like his 12-second lead that he had entering Moon, or 13-second lead. So let's just say, even if Sui didn't die, Stravos would have probably won this one, as the pillar is falling right here. It's going to be getting a mid 101 for him. So that's fine. I'm just gonna digest this as Stravos would have won either way, because it would have been incredibly frustrating if it would have been really close without that death. It looks like it wouldn't have really been. Stravos would have probably won either way. Gets a 101-31 for this first race. GG's to him, and it's gonna be taking the first game of the first series here. And I think we are in for a ride. I am sure we are. If that wouldn't have happened, it would have been tremendously close. Stravos would have probably won, but I think this is a good sign for this series to be as entertaining as I imagined. Let's watch SuisaigaW real quick as he ends this pillar room. It's a pretty good one so far. Fast early pillar. This pillar is running pretty quick. Those last fireballs out. It's probably going to be getting a mid 102. So once again, this death probably losing him around the minute, having to go all the way through Moon Kingdom again to actually start off his movement. So seems about right. Good stuff there from Sui, even still getting a mid 102 with a tremendously costly that would have been able to get a 101 himself. Once again, I think, guys, we are in for a ride with this one. And the next race is going to be happening pretty much immediately. We are just going to be going into a little bit of a break for these runners. Just let them breathe real quick, obviously, after a race like this. And then we will be back pretty much immediately with the second race as soon as these guys are ready.
di na pwede?
Ravioli. Mamma mia. Amore.
La mo di na pinda. Oh, mother of yeah, mura. Masay na amazing.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and I am back, and I'm also joined by Esper now, coming into a pretty intense series. What's up, Esper?
Hello, hello, welcome. Man, that last race was close. I'm so glad it was. Definitely glad to join you for the second in this match. I think it could go to 3 today.
Yeah, for sure. Probably handling 3 races of this as like a solo commentator, my voice would probably be gone, because this last one was intense enough as it is. So it's definitely nice to get some support. Yeah. Once again, I actually think you at least went back, because I kind of want to recap on that, and actually looked at what happened to SuisaigaW, who also mentioned that he felt robbed from that moon skip mistake there in our group chat here. But can you kind of recap what you actually observed there?
I did go back on MPV buffer. Basically, what I saw is that just from the shadow, it looked like the angle was right, at least when the camera clipped. And it looked like at least his walk on the ledge, he looked like he went far enough. It wasn't like when Stravos did the same thing. Like, you could tell that his walk on the ledge wasn't the normal walk, so he might not have got a cappy bounce from that. So I don't know. What I'm guessing is either like the walk could have been bad either way, because sometimes you just can't tell, or it's possible that when the camera clicked, that Sui stopped holding Y maybe, and then he didn't get the cappy bounce because of that. So his angle was fine, but he just didn't get the bounce because he thought he needed to, or maybe he changed direction on the dive when the camera clipped or something. But like the direction looked okay. I don't know. Sometimes you just get weird stuff like that in races, and it's like, what are you gonna do, man? But
True.
yeah. I mean, I think it was preventable. Like, you'd like to think that everything in this game is preventable if you're smart enough. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like, though, this is something that I personally have never seen, and I mean, both of us have seen like a ton of races and a ton of PB attempts, and this specific like camera clip is something I have never seen. So he might have been thrown off by that so much that he just didn't know what to do. Maybe like, as you said, maybe just let go of Y because he got shocked or whatever, because he thought he would have bonged. Who knows? Let's get rid of that, though. Let's forget that it never happened. We are onto a fresh start. Stravos obviously leading the series 1-0. Looks like, I mean, I would imagine this is actually not the race, because Sui hasn't even started. Stravos is going pretty hard, though, as far as this cap start is concerned.
Maybe a false start here. We might have to restart. Or maybe, I don't know, if Sui starts right now, we could do a delay, but we'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah, looks like it might just let us know that he needs a minute.
Stravos' timer not even running, so maybe he's just practicing cap, you know?
Who doesn't like practicing cap? Now, I actually want to go back at something and talking about Moon, something that we can at least quickly fill that gap with. I know I made a mistake the last time we've been talking about Moon. I said Miles Pro actually got a 507 Moon, which is not true. However, Miles actually got a 506 Moon today instead. So Moon Kingdom's still getting improved daily. I mean, 506 is just a joke. That's just ridiculous.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing is, looking at that video earlier today, just before this race, like, you know, it seems like maybe 505 might even be possible, because there are some visible mistakes in that moon. But yeah, a lot of it was because of that new moon skip, which we have seen in GSA races before. As neither Strav nor Sui went for it today, but I've seen Ekwan go for it in GSA races. I don't know, perhaps if it comes either really close or if there's a really big difference, then you just have to squeeze every second out. Maybe you might see it. I don't know, but
yeah. think it's going to take a while until we see a 5 or 6 moon in a record or even in a race. Miles is just so far ahead when it comes to this kingdom, something that he always liked prioritizing. Really likes the kingdom, I guess. But let's forget about that. We are off on our way here. Race number 2 starting off in cap, and this is indeed the actual start now.
Yep.
I was talking about earlier how I was interested if Suisaiga's practice on Sekiro, which he got really good at really fast, actually might have affected him as far as his consistency for races go. But the mistakes that he had in this last race were obviously big mistakes, but I wouldn't say this is because of him being rusty or anything. He's playing very well overall, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely Sui looked solid for the bits of last race that I saw. He seemed ahead in Luncheon. Obviously, he had a death in Luncheon, I heard. But, yeah. And Stravos, I feel like, has been in the same situation a lot of times. Stravos is one of those guys that plays a lot of other games as well. Sometimes takes breaks between matches. But recently, Stravos has, you know, he's been on the grind a little bit more. He does want that PB, obviously. So does Sui. Both of them want to win this, so...
This sync right there was actually awesome. I just got to really appreciate this. Stravos actually started this room with a normal roll and Sui with a spin pound, but they pretty much instantly synced again, capturing the frog. And then they also had like very similar movement, but Sui will actually miss left side. So that's one of the bigger mistakes you can make in cap. And Stravos is most likely going to be taking this lead into Cascade.
It looks like that left side will give Stravos the early lead. Yeah, it kind of shows how that spin pound in the frog room versus a roll, it's like basically the same amount of time. So that they both started with those different things and then ended up synced.
Yeah.
A lot of things like this, only saving frames.
Yeah, overall in cap, it's pretty much about frames. And the one big mistake that you can make actually did happen to Sui. I mean, you can bonk in other places, but this is obviously the most costly mistake. They're not getting up the top head on left side. Let's find out why. We actually did see Stravos struggling on chest clip in his last race. He didn't get chest clip. He also had a mistake during the Madame Brutal boss fight. And then Sui actually made some mistakes in sand. So let's just observe how this early game goes this time. Stravos obviously with a little bit of a lead going into first move skip.
Yep, Stravos probably going for wall jumpless rather, FMS, as I've seen him do before. As he did get wall jumpless pretty well. We'll see whether Sui goes for the same, and he misses it. He's gonna have to recover from this, doing a cap return jump. Pretty good recovery, at least he gets it first try, but that is a little bit of a costly time save in addition to missing left side. So Strav's gonna take a pretty big lead here going into chest clip.
To say this backup can be quite weird whenever you actually do miss that wall jumpless first moon skip. You have to basically space out your jumps correctly to be able to get a jump. But you will actually make the same mistake he made in race 1, not able to capture that change jump optimally. Now has to go all the way around the boss. Actually, still not lining up the shot. So Sui is very close again, actually, if he gets this hit fast, and he will. So this is back to like a 2-second difference.
Yeah. Stravos really bringing that race together. This is like a mistake that, I mean, obviously you see everything, but not too commonly seen is missing the, like compared to chest clip, compared to FMS in Cascade. Usually you don't want to miss that Mama Brutal change comp because it takes up. Sometimes you're futzing around, running all around as Stravos was, but Stravos still has a little bit of a lead here. Chest clip though, Stravos misses chest clip and Sui gets chest clip, all of a sudden Sui's in the lead, no doubt.
And I can see that happening. Chest clip is something we've actually seen kind of, it's like a consistent story throughout those races. It's actually really rare, and it's kind of underestimated how big this trick still is and how much it gets missed. Because if we look at all of our playoff matches, I doubt we've ever seen at least a series where everybody just got chest clip. At least in one race, someone would miss, maybe even both. So it's very realistic for Stravos to potentially miss it again.
Yeah, it seems like people do get at least like nut clip more than chest clip, just because obviously every moon clip is a little bit different. But it's also very hard to practice.
Yep, I was about to say, this looked low, and for Sui it looks good. He's very far. Oh, he's actually very far up to the right. And I was about to mention, on the right side, there's actually a couple of ceilings coded into the game. So you need to clip through all of, like, if you're at the right side, you need to clip through all of the ceilings to be allowed out of bounds. So it's usually preferable if you're a little bit more at the left side, but both of them actually missing it. So Stravos still with the lead.
Yep, at least this keeps it even. Got about a few seconds between it. I don't think Fast Action Guide could make this all up, but it could certainly make it a lot closer. As Stravos is kind of notorious for getting Fast Action Guide every time, using what he claims to be a moon clip timing method, where he sees a visual cue and then waits about a third of a second if you can do that, maybe a fourth of a second.
Yeah, that's
And,
what I think you told me. Last race, he actually
yeah.
didn't get like a really fast one. I think he got what he likes to call the medium. Actually, he doesn't get
Well,
it at
that
all
was
this
slow.
time.
That
Yeah,
was not at all.
really
Yeah, that's the
missed, but I
first
don't
time I've
think
ever
Sui
seen
got
him
it
miss it.
either.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of them were pretty slow ones. Last race, Strauss got what he likes to refer as the medium action guide skip. It didn't look like extremely fast, but it definitely was faster than what Sui had, who actually did miss it in his first race again. And when we are talking about fast action guide skip, for anybody that might not be as technical as Espa and I am when it comes to this game, it's basically just a way of getting through that text faster after fast action guide. This text tends to take a little bit longer, but sometimes runners are able to actually skip it as fast as a normal text box.
Both of these guys going for the normal sand route, no late crate from either. Which, as you know, as should be done in a race. Late crate maybe kind of like Island Hop and SM64. Like, it does make sense in world record attempts, I would say, but in races, it's just not a race-friendly strategy.
Now Strauss is actually going to be missing that Dune Moon once. Sui, after taking a little bit of time to actually align a spin point, is at least going to be able to uncover it immediately, and probably due to that saving some time there.
Yep, Strauss getting a single jump off the pole while Suisaiga opting to go for the backflip instead.
Yeah, I was talking about earlier how I definitely can tell it's Stravos playing, because literally no one else goes for these jumps off the side to be able to get the archway moon, but he does, so that's like the immediate signature set. But Stu will actually hold in a little bit early.
Yeah. Oof. I wonder if you can recover from that by, like, up throwing Cappy and going again. But either way, not getting Dram here. Gonna have to go up the iceberg and bonking, so probably not used to this movement that much. Might he go for the up throw? No.
So he cannot capture this. He cannot capture this. I was about to say, this will not make all the way. Like, if you capture a bullet bill for the first time, the timer resets. But if you capture it again, it's still on the same timer. So that bullet bill wouldn't have made it over to the pillar.
Exactly, because it's the same one that he just captured. But the timer does reset if you're capturing kind of a fresh bullet bill, per se. Yeah. Stravos making it through that Sphinx flip. Gonna be doing it one more time.
Grabbing decent coins, not extreme amounts, but should be fine. Stravos did actually end up going to Seaside first on this last race, which was also tied to a death and loss at the bridge. Now, Sui actually, with a really weird clip. This is pretty risky. Sometimes if you clip in that specific way, you can actually die on swing flip, something we've never really seen in a race, but it is still possible. At least being able to clip, though, and get some good coins as well. Solid, at least.
Oh. Sui having some trouble making it through the second time, but he gets his second try, so that's good. And Stravos is going to be going to Jaxi skip.
A little bit cleaner there from Sui. This time, at least on the double clip, did take one additional attempt, but the last time he actually needed to wrap the bird on the second lap, which is not terrible, but a little bit of a time loss.
Oh, no. Oh,
camera there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the camera was scaring me there because I wasn't sure, but like it looked fine. I mean, it was just the camera was giving me some frights. Hopefully Stravos not going to fright me anymore as he exits the sand. Gotta go for notes first, though.
Yeah, and actually both of them, I think, being able to get the one spin flow notes last time. Something that is still quite big. Although will make a little bit of a circle there around the Doom with interesting roll cancel. Roll canceling on slopes tends to give us some interesting speeds. Stravos not really losing much time there. At the same time, Sui missing a ground pound below the cactus. Nice.
And Stravos getting that single spin throw. Something is quite difficult to do. Not a huge time loss if you do 2 spin throws, but still, it's super impressive. Sui, the bird is like a little bit ahead here, but actually that's like pretty fine. You're kind of minimizing your losses when you get a bird like that, because the bird isn't like the bird is super close, even though you missed some time to Sphinx clip, for example.
Yeah, struggling a little bit here with notes, but I was about to say, actually, the way he grabbed this bird and this GP moon was like extremely optimal. He like hit the bird, ground pounded the dune, then grabbed the bird moon, and then just dove into the bird moon, like back and forth. Was done really well, but probably losing some time in Oasis overall because that nodes was a little bit sloppy.
Yeah, we had a 10-19 sand exit from Stravos. We'll see this delta here. Yeah, so both of these guys have had sand exits faster, but this is a race. That's what it's about, you know? Obviously, Stravos wins this for any new viewers here, and he wins this match, and then he still will go on to the next match, but he wins the next match, and then he's on to pace. Sui wins this, and we're going to be here for a third race. 10:43 for Sui on that sand exit. So, doing the math on that. That's 23 seconds, I believe. Quick math.
Exactly.
23 seconds between these two runners. But lake clip could change it.
And the only way it will is if Sui gets it quick, because Stravos is actually not going to be opting for that strategy. Once again, something where they actually had some difference in this last race. Not only didn't he go for the lake clip here, but also not for the tree route in Wooded, so we might see a little bit of a mix up here.
Yeah,
Stravos
so
missing the spin pound.
in a way, actually, that makes it less as a late clip can't change it because, yeah, of course, Stravos, even though he did get the first IL record with late clip, he does not go for late clip in any races. He does do it in runs now, but yeah. So in a way, like this gives Sui like he can gain 5 seconds here, but like you're not going to take the lead from late clip alone. But if Stravos was going for late clip, he could have gotten bathtubs, he could have gotten fake clipped over and over, and then like the lead could actually be different. So perhaps like a good move.
Got a fake clip here from Sui, who actually needed Cappy to clip not only once but twice. He's going to be able to at least clip Cappy again. Moves to the side. Is going to be able to move through that out-of-bounds section, but overall, at most, probably breaking even to what Stravos did in this kingdom.
Definitely, I would say he's probably losing even a little bit of time because that fake clip looked kind of bad, but kind of brutal. But speaking of brutal, Stravos getting one extra brutal today, fighting this Rango. Now, you might think, like, Stravos already has enough moons when he grabs this multi-moon here, but it's those multi-moon cutscenes that we're going to have to wait for, while Sui is just flying through the stage, grabbing a bunch of extra moons. So the lead is not as much as you'd think.
Yeah, it's really not, but it's also interesting to see, because the last time we've actually seen Stravos grab this moon, Sui was basically just collecting the pillar moon, and he ended up being ahead after the late, not the late trade, but the lake clip routing he did in his first race. So obviously kind of signalizing us that he is obviously still behind. You were saying earlier, even if he got like the perfect lake clip, it wouldn't have been enough to actually get a lead quite yet. But Wooded is a scary kingdom. We have the nut clip, we have that entire out of bounds section.
Yes, Wooded certainly is enough to make up a lead of 20-30 seconds, because the thing is, if you miss nut clip, you struggle on rock clip, or you fall off the ramp, you fall out of bounds. All these things are huge risks. All of them have happened. We've even seen runners fall into deep woods in GSA races before. I believe that was you and me last time. But
yeah, I think so too. It was probably
wasn't it
like the last race of the league or something? I can't quite remember, but it has happened.
Yeah, well, don't want to think about the negative. Let's hope that both of these guys get solid woodeds today. Perhaps SuisaigaW could creep up, even though Stravos is one of those guys that used to hold the wooded IL record. Now that we've seen some crazy woodeds from guys like Ekman.
And the last time, and I'm not sure if you remember, at least commentating with me, and I've been talking about this before, I always like emphasized on the fact that Stravos is so incredibly confident when it comes to pipeway. Like that's something I still remember from way back when we were just about to add back pipeway into the route, and I was like, dude, I don't want to do pipeway again because it's like risky. If you miss the cycle, then you lose like so much time. And he was always like, ah, dude, you never miss pipeway. I never miss pipeway. And usually he actually never did, but last race he actually took damage 3 times. Once on the first cycle, twice on the second cycle, which obviously loses almost as much as missing like nut clip if you get raw clip first, right? He lost like 15 seconds in that sub, or let's say 12 to be generous, but that's still a big risk now. He's going to be trying for nut clip right now. Sweeper is probably going to be going for the tree moon here first. Gets the clip at least. Now through that out of bounds section. Looks like a good position to grab that moon, and as long as he's going to be able to dive back in bounds, he is
very
fine.
nice out of bounds from Stravos. But yeah, going for standard ramp movement here. Sometimes we've seen him go for that ramp triple jump in races. but
I'll be missing that spin pound to the nut for a little bit. At the same time, Sui was actually not getting the best boosts here again, so it's not going to get too much time save from the tree route. But at first he has to go through this out of bounds section as well.
Yeah, let's see how Sui can handle this out of bounds. There is a route disparity here, by the way. Even though Stravos looks like he's far ahead, really he's, yeah, Sui getting a nice out of bounds. He does have an extra moon because he did the tree route.
Yep, exactly. So even though Stravos is going to be stuck for quite a little bit here. Wow, that was actually so close. He almost actually missed Cappy there and he would have fallen, bonked, and would have needed to go for like a weird backup, but he made that work somehow. So that's looking pretty solid. But yeah, Stravos is going to be stuck here a little bit, waiting throughout these cutscenes here. But that's obviously not going to be enough for Sui to catch up all the way to him. He still has to go around the corner there, grabbing the nut on the dead end and inside of the maze. So the lead is still very much in Stravos' favor.
Yeah, while we're waiting for this cutscene, some people in chat confused about the format. They will be doing today. This could be the last run of today if Stravos takes the win, because then he'll win this match 2 out of 3. Or if Sui takes the win, then we're going to be here for one more to settle this best 2 out of 3. And then to see who makes it to pace, who wins the playoff overall. This is the first of 3 like best 2 out of 3 matches. So we're gonna have the other 2, or the other 1, if the same person who wins this wins the next one on a separate day. But Suisaiga getting that flower road skip pretty good. Glad we're past that.
That's obviously the important part. They don't have to do 3 best of 3s today. If we, I mean, we're at least gonna have another best of 3 taking place on Wednesday. And if it comes to a third one, that's going to be on Friday. But we are still in series number 1, and this is what matters right now. Stravos obviously dealing with a good lead situation. As he's almost actually falling down there. This would have been a big time loss. Is going to be able to recover quite well and gets a decent vector to be able to close the gap. But then he's going into the scary, scary pipeway. Let's see if he can forget about last time's flaws and just gets it this time again.
Yeah, pipeway, you know, can be deceptively bad, especially, I guess, because you're just so used to, you know, that friendly cycle. But if any one thing goes wrong, you've really got to dodging those fuzzies in an unfamiliar pattern. It is kind of difficult. Like when we saw Ekwan die in this sub area once, and then he had to go back in, and he actually had to skip the first moon because he already had the first moon, and it was just like the patterns were foreign to him.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's getting it pretty good. Gets the optimal cycle here. Liking that from Stravos. I'm sure he's relieved that he can exit Wooded now.
Yeah. I feel like the lead should be less than 30 seconds though. I mean, you do grab the moons here, but I would be surprised if this room does take longer than 30. It should be probably closer to like 26 or something. So I could see, unless we make a mistake here, this lead still being less than 30, which is absolutely friendly for a potential very close race still. Yeah, this is less than 30 because he just initiated the warp and Stravos is not out of the global cutscene yet. I think those 26 seconds or 25 seconds could be relatively close. Actually, it's probably less, probably only like 22 seconds of lead, which is very easy to come back from.
When 1839 Wooded faded out from Stravos. We'll see what else we... Yeah, looking like about 30. A little more than that. 32 seconds.
Wait, 22, right? Yeah, 22 seconds.
Sorry, 22 seconds.
For Stravos, which is not that much at all, especially going... Dude, math is hard. You have to do it multiple times during the run, and you have to talk at the same time. It's actually something so perfect. But anyways, Cloud probably not going to be causing these guys too much issues. We've actually seen, there was like this one phase, I still remember that and talking about it, where Suisaiga had like amazing early games, and then Cloud always kind of denied him good runs. I think he's past that though. We've seen both of them with Optimal Cloud's last race, and I wouldn't be surprised to see big mistakes here again. But Lost now, even though they did both good relatively well, Stravos did take a death at the very end. We've seen big time losses in Ruined and playoffs, in Lost during playoffs.
In Cloud. Oh yeah, and Lost. I mean, I don't know. Hey, Curbs used to have tons of troubles in Cloud, and now he has 59-59 in a race. So perhaps a good sign for Suisaiga that he's come past that phase there. But Stravos, yeah, both of these guys not missing hack grabs so far. Suisaiga about to finish up Bowser here, as Stravos is already on to the Lost Kingdom. Lost is very scary, though. As you said, we've seen people die up to 5 times in Lost Kingdom in the league. And, you know, it just, the movement is very awkward because you're always spawning back at the Odyssey. And it is definitely, I would say, the easiest kingdom to die in out of every kingdom that we contest in this any percent run.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how actually the same effect you were mentioning earlier about the subrooms is kind of true for Lost itself, because you always start at the exact same position, and sometimes you don't even know what's best. Like, do I have to go left again using the tree? Do I have to go right now and then trigger Klepto? Do I even have to trigger Klepto? Like, depending on where you actually take a death, if you do, things get so weird. So we actually, talking about weird, there's like a pretty weird homing section there. He wanted Cappy to home back, but it got like stuck at the tree, so he didn't get the return jump, having to dive towards the lower ledge, so he is denied off of those rolls that you could do for some extra speed. At least he's fine, still alive.
Yeah, at least you don't want to fall into the purple goo at any point in this level. And Stravos getting a nice roll cancel there to this moon. A lot of technical parts of this. We're going to go onto the trapedal here. Very precise angle required, but we're getting it.
Okay, but however, I do still consider this last section to be the most risky, maybe both hardest and most risky one. This jump obviously pretty tight. Stravos is going to be getting it, grabs the tree moon now, hopefully being able to dive into this moon, which we've seen people miss.
Ooh, looks like a high dive here. Could we see? No, not going for that up throw, but still pretty quick recovery. And he does get that spin throw on the globe. I feel like that's an underrated part of Losses, just because of the height difference there, is that you see a lot of people kind of trying to spin throw to capture that globe, and globe's just not wanting to be captured. But SuisaigaW about to do the most difficult part again. Also looks like he's getting a good grab position there to recover.
For the up throw dive, though. Something that he has been doing in the last race is going to be able to once again complete this. Very nice. Actually, no mistakes for in Lost for both of them, and this time at least no crucial mistakes. A little bit of wonkiness maybe at the start for Sui, but they could both be happy with this, and this is the second time that actually both had solid Losts, so we can go into Metro Night with still having some kind of tension for this race, because this is still pretty close.
Yep, happy to see a close race out of Lost, because sometimes you just get, sometimes Lost just changes the whole story, where you've got like a comeback situation for the whole race. But here, we're still close. Now, Stravos is going to be going on to City Hall Tower. Both of them probably going for the old cycle, per se, but still a difficult cycle, whether you do it old way or the Guruya cycle. It is a difficult section of the run. You could fall, you could miss the jump from the top, you could miss the pole grab, but we're going for Goomba jump here, getting it just fine. A little bit of RNG in that. Stravos SuisaigaW about to do the same.
Interested to see Stravos going to try for this roll again. It looks like he will, just rolling over that gap. Pretty fancy. Spacing out those rolls just fine, because if you actually roll a little bit too late, you could obviously easily bonk. And yeah, actually interesting that you mentioned that, because Sui did have some issues grabbing that first pole in the last race, and probably lost close to at least 3-4 seconds to this. Looks like Stravos is going to be fine.
No,
actually
Stravos getting
bonking.
bonked.
Oh, this is going to be close.
Okay,
fast reaction, because that platform would have fallen.
Yeah, you got to react fast, and then also you've got to make sure you have a good position on the bottom pole, because you don't have the visual cue of the coins. Normally people try to grab where the purple coins are, and then that gives you a good position. But Stravos making the jump out, losing a little bit of time there. SuisaigaW definitely catching up if he can nail this section. Looking pretty good from SuisaigaW.
We might be below 20 seconds now that Wiggler fade out. Actually, we should probably just wait until after Wiggler, because Wiggler has so much variance in his patterns, and obviously also the way runners approach those. So it's not even worth really calling a difference in leads so far. So we will be also getting a bonk here, which obviously is also gonna be part of that equation.
Unless it was beaten recently, I believe Stravos does have the BTT for the second segment of Wiggler. That's one of those coveted BTT spots, but obviously a lot of RNG involved in that. Probably the most RNG part of the run. SuisaigaW missing out the first phase a little bit.
I
Yeah.
wonder if that's ever gonna get beaten. I mean, probably, but it's just ridiculous what happens in that one. Let's see if he is at least gonna be able to get a good 2-cycle here, or even good 2-cycle at all. Yeah, looks like an easy pattern to react.
Pretty
Yeah.
nice. That was
Nice.
one of the best wigglers I've seen, without any crazy stuff going on, that is. Just one after the other, that's all you can ask for in a race. We'll see what kind of pattern Suisaiga gets in just a moment here. Going back and forth, but like looks like you can handle this. Uh oh, missing 2 at the front there. Gonna have to go back to get these. Very nice though. That was a super fast. Got it on the first first bullet after that recovery.
Let's check fadeouts. So we could probably call this a 25-45 here for Stravos. Let's see what Suisaiga gets on his end. Because after day match, it is probably the last time we will actually see those guys in the same kingdom for us to be able to actually compare these. Because as Chad very well was able to very well observe, Suisaiga is at around 50 coins. Stravos actually also only on 74, so we might actually see double Seaside first.
That'd be good for us commentators,
so.
you know? At least we can directly compare if they go double Seaside first. If you're in attempts, it's kind of weird because your splits are off. But like in a race, the splits matter less than the delta. So Stravos missing scoop clip.
That's
Can
a
you
big
get the
one.
backup?
Oh,
Backup is brutal for this because you do have to go fast, but he gets it 3rd try, I would call that backup. At least he can turn around with the scooter there. Sometimes if you get a 2nd try backup, the way that he did it, you have to like, jump off the scooter and then you lose more time because you're going slower than scooter speed. But if you get a 3rd try, you basically did a 360. So Stravos pulling out his tricks today.
Yeah, Sui is able to get this one first try, definitely making up some time. It's actually a weird spot in that Stravos was able to back this up. You'd usually see one of the 2 sides of the cage being used, but Stravos basically clipping at the front, which should, I mean, technically work if the mode is actually close to the walls on all sides, but definitely losing a big chunk of time there.
Yep, Stravos hoping to maintain his lead through this Metro Kingdom. Gonna go for the musicians here. Oh, and Suisaiga getting a ledge grab and a bonk there. That's not the way you want to do it. Thank you to the fan for buying some GSA merch. A reminder that you can buy merch today by typing, I believe it's exclamation mark merch, but you can check the title and newly available for you guys.
Oh, these Pace hoodies are pretty hot, just gonna have to say that.
Oh, damn. Hope you can buy those in person, actually. Otherwise, I might do that myself online.
I can not give you any information on that, but I do want a Pace hoodie myself, so probably need to shed on some light on that soon. Now, actually, something, Esper, that I mentioned last race, it won't really matter as much as last time. It's worth to say that Sui, after acquiring the bases, is gonna save some additional time, because even though he did struggle with it, he did do leg clip, so he's not gonna get the Cappy Warp text here. Stravos is gonna be sitting through that right now. So that might actually change things up a little bit more. But I'm very certain that we are going to be seeing double Seaside first here. Stravos is at around 80 coins, and you cannot really... You can get like 10 for free in Snow, but you can't get 10 for free here again, or like anywhere. So it would be best to just do Seaside first.
Totally agree for that. Stravos is going to have to do a backup movement for this Trash Moon. But he gets it just fine. Yeah, hopefully these guys are paying attention and are going to choose Seaside first. Sometimes you can kind of make a mistake there, and then you have to go for Rango Room. Doesn't lose that much time, but Suisaiga, meanwhile, getting a triple jump to go for this Trash Moon. And we're going to go up to the top, a tippy top tower. Looks like pretty good. He did get a rainbow spin there, which means that he's going for a spin pound, and he gets it. That spin pound saves a decent amount of time. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Suisaiga did not get that last time, which actually broke up his lead a little bit at that point. That looks like a better spot though, so he is at least gonna have the chance to try, but I guess he just doesn't opt to do so, just goes for the dives instead. Maybe just personal preference, because I think he would have been at least able to try.
Yeah, well, it is a little risky, as he goes for a Bullseye Buddy here. Looks like pretty good. And a spin jump up there.
Yeah, that's something he seems to be doing consistently. That's a cool style strat, which obviously doesn't lose time, doesn't save time either, but looks cool.
And Stravos getting out of Metro here. Again, there's not a lot of coins to be had in Metro, especially in the second part. So, you know, generally you can tell when you're coming into Metro whether you will need to go Snow or Seaside first. And here we got double Seaside first today, so we will be able to directly compare our runners in Seaside. That's what we like to see.
Yep. Interesting stuff. So don't freak out when we get like extremely low Seaside exits, because as far as we know, we will see double Seaside. Unless, I mean, you did mention that you have to pay attention to check your coin count, and your muscle memory is going to lead you to go to snow, which is not going to be super painful for Stravos here. He at least sees it.
Wow, look at this. Stravos pulling off the wrong warp to Seaside. Gonna skip snow today. Sub hour is free. We got it today.
How did he do that,
Race world
dude?
record.
That must have been like a sub frame. Obviously, sub frame perfect match right there. Let's see if Suisaiga can match that. Easy, dude.
Whoa.
Easy strategies coming out of those guys. And it's Seaside time.
Yep, Stravos is kind of renowned for these first 3 moons in Seaside are kind of his best 3 moons. We've even seen him, at least in ILs, I've seen him go for this like up throw dive strat for the 2.5D moon, but I'm sure he won't do it in this race today because it is quite risky. But he does know how to go fast for these 3 moons is the bottom line.
Yeah, for sure. That was actually one of Suisaiga's bigger mistakes in last run, other than obviously the very big mistake at the end, and the death and dungeon. He was playing pretty much very well throughout the run, but here at that 2.5D moon, as we like to say, I at least call this because it kind of looks like a 2D section, but it's obviously 3-dimensional, so you can actually miss that moon. He actually fell, and he bonked as well, trying to back it up, so losing a good chunk of time there. Let's see if he can.
Oh no, not falling down through the water. So that's a little bit of time loss, but still
Probably not
comfortable lead.
holding neutral.
Yeah, that is quite difficult because obviously you want to get as close to the fish as possible by moving in the air, but you can't. Gotta hold neutral when you're touching the water. Suisaiga going straight down like that, but you see that's the problem. That's why you want to go further far forwards.
That's interesting. Both of them actually making a mistake at that specific part. That seems kind of rare, but...
oh no, Stravos getting the camera turn. That's very rare to get a camera turn like this. Oh, but okay,
Good
but it turned
reaction.
back around. Yeah, but that is kind of just something that happens, and sometimes you get on that because you're not used to that sort of movement. And yeah, definitely a glitch in the game that you could just getting this moon normally, but Stravos getting a nice dory position there. And we are about to do fish clip. Let's see if these guys can get fish clip first try.
Both of them did in the first race. I didn't like Suisaiga's movement out of bounds. He was extremely close to clipping back in. Once again, this can happen if you try to go fast. We haven't seen that in a while, and I'm glad about it because it's one of the most frustrating time losses that you could get in this kingdom. Pretty much the biggest one. Unless you make like multiple mistakes in one moon, this is the single biggest mistake that you can make in Seaside. Stravos is able to avoid that entirely. He had a pretty nice line there, grabbing that moon from out of bounds. Let's see if we can match that. I hope he can. This is there. I don't like this, dude. Like, swimming into the moon like this makes it look scary for me. Jesus Christ, dude, stop. He's at least able to stay out of bounds and gets that moon, but that was close.
Yeah, at least he made it out there against Suisaiga. Maybe that's just his strat, you know, scare the commentators, but he makes it in the end. 33-41 fade out from Stravos. World record Seaside exit.
Good stuff, good stuff. All right, so 41. Let's compare that because I think we are close to his 20-second difference still. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a 0-4, so like 23 seconds of difference. Seems close enough. A missed snowdram and that leader's gun.
Yes, or as we've seen, almost as common actually, is we see deaths in the blowy jelly room. That's another brutal mistake that you can make in snow.
Oh, for sure. That actually activates the pipeway effect because that room won't like reload or start from fresh. The cycle is like way different if that happens.
Yeah, that does make it actually very annoying to practice that room. You have to go into the snow shop and out is the fastest way to practice that room. But yeah, there's I don't know. Perhaps that should be something that we add to the new practice mod. But Stravos going into snow. There's a very technical area, the outside that Tsui is still going through. There's a lot of different strats you can do. The game is basically trying to slow you down for this area, so we're fighting the game in a way, the conditions of the game. A lot of like unfriendly surfaces to move past, but we're still moving through them very fast. Oh, Stravos trying to go for probably a throw and then home the cap towards the chest there, but the cap just homed back to himself. Might go for this Snow Moon clip. Stravos does go for it, so we'll see how he gets it. Looks good.
This is the rematch of the World Peace World Finals. World Finals. I mean, kind of, I guess, of the World Peace Grand Finals of the last tournament. And both of these guys did get snow clipped in the first race. Stravos, 2 out of 2 so far. I'm assuming Sui is at least going to attempt it again. Maybe we are getting a full snow clip race today. And also both of them with some good consistency. Oh, that's pretty close. It looks decent, but I'm not sure if it's actually going to do it. And will still. For Stravos, it was like easily able to see if it worked or not. This one was kind of close. Got it to work. 4 out of 4 snow clips so far.
Yep. Looking pretty good on the snow clip front today. And we're getting these below Joey cycles too. As well as Strav getting that Storm Moon at the end of this section. Let's see if Sui can get the optimal Spiny, and he does. Pretty nice Spiny from Suisaiga. Of course, it is faster to leave one Spiny while on the ground there and then hit him from Mario instead of hitting him from the below Joey due to a camera panning technical detail. But we're hoping today that the Goombas are going to cooperate with us. Even though we want to kill the Spinies, we do not want to kill the Goombas. We want to leave them alive in the 80% run.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about optimal Goombas there. Oh, unfortunate bonk. That actually, I think that same bonk happened to Sui last run. But yeah, talking about optimal Goombas there, or cooperating Goombas, many people, at least in our community here from Super Mario Odyssey, know that we keep track of this best theoretical timesheet, kind of getting segments from moon to moon, or like from fade out to fade out when it comes to loading zone, and yeah, track the best movement on it. Actually, for this specific room recently, there was a new clip submit that beat the previous best clip by like more than half a second. And it is absolutely disgusting what the Goombas look like there. Like, that was the perfect RNG. He just ran, because technically you want to run under the ice pillar as fast as possible. So start initiating that fall quick, then collect the Goombas, and then jump onto the pillar optimally. And yeah, if you have access to that sheet, which it's pinned in the speedrunning Discord, that's worth your watch, I'd say. It's crazy.
The best theoretical time. Definitely, Limcube deserves a lot of props for all the work he's put into that. Stravos going to have to reset up a few times. Not too confident about this angle, and you got to be confident for Snowdran, so hopefully he does get it eventually. But that was like, yeah, going in and out of first-person mode a few times there.
Okay, gets the roll cancel off there. Not going for the roll cancel jump into the cap bounce, but let's look at Sui. He still needs to get this trick. If he's able to get that immediately and maybe even goes for the vector, he might... What? Okay, gets the vault off. Quite stylish. Actually not too fast because you can't really open the chest quickly. Almost able... Oh, he at least went for it. Looks like around 20 seconds. Just barely missed globing before that screen closed there for Stravos. So I'd say 21. Making up like 2 seconds here in snow.
Yeah, Stravos having a pretty nice lead going to luncheon, but it's not really pretty nice, actually. I would say Stravos probably still GSA-ing from this lead, because luncheon is a scary kingdom, and 20 seconds is like, I don't know. I would say if you have a lead of like 2 minutes, that's a nice lead, but 20 seconds is a pretty close race here, as we have both of these runners coming into luncheon.
Yeah, for sure. And actually Luncheon being such an interesting kingdom in last race. We had the death from Sui. We actually, at first, Sui missed the Soul Triple, then he also died, so it looked like, wow. Okay, Stravos has a massive lead, but then he probably lost like 30 seconds on Turnip Clip, which is still such a big trick, such a massive trick that you can really lose big amounts of time in.
Yeah, we are fighting Beard here. Missed him in Wooded, but he's back in Luncheon to take his revenge. Funny that this fight is basically exactly the same as the one we would have done in Wooded anyways, so kind of no harm in missing that one. Suisaiga a little bit low here, but looking fine. Gonna do the roll cancel and dive into the same fight. Now,
throw coming out from Sui to get Speward's head off.
Yeah. Now we are about to go into a sub area right after this, which is somewhat technical, but more so is the movement after. So you're speaking of that best theoretical time. Somewhat recently, one of the newer pieces of movement in this game is that there's a new way, which we've seen Ekwon do during his races, to go from the next sub area to the ground pound moon up top. I don't believe any of these runners will be going for possibly Stravos, but I mean, you were there for the last. I was here for the last race too. I don't think either did.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, both of them went for the original jump, but that actually caused Suisaiga to die. Like, that was the section he died in because he missed that ledge and then slid off and he couldn't really recover. And I mean, that's not the biggest, but it takes a long time to die because you take damage 3 times and then you just spawn at the same spot. Overall, obviously frustrating. I was talking about the subroom because it's such a nice subroom to actually get a visual representation of how well you do it. I was talking about how this island actually is completely still in the lava if you are fast. Now, Stravos is actually struggling. Okay, that was not intentional, but I actually like that when he was struggling on that spin point there to get basically down to Corona Plaza, which is the city here. Probably lost
Stravos is Stravosing, I'll tell you that. And he's getting the correct turnip. Yeah. Looks like Stravos about to go up here and go for that camera manipulus strat. No manips here. Normally in speedruns we do manips to go fast, but in Super Mario Odyssey, in the Launching Kingdom, in the specific area, we do a manip to go slow. So you skip it and you're fast, but it is risky. So let's see if he can get this Podoboo. Looks like he's getting it with time to spare.
Yeah, easily. He actually went for the roll cancel, and I really like the way he does it because most people I see, they like roll cancel to the left and then they vector all across to the island, but he almost roll canceled straight, still got his way to the island, so he's able to actually, as you said, he still had spare time before the Podoboo even came out of the lava. It's not going to be that case for Sui, but he at least gets the cycle.
Yep, Sui is going into the Forks room here. Very dangerous room. Glad that Travis is getting out of it alive, but a lot of motion controls in this room. A lot of potential for dropped inputs, and especially now that we try to micro-optimize it, we're diving towards these forks instead of wall sliding. Does not give you a lot of room for error here. But Stravos is going up and about to do turnip clip. 2 very difficult sections back to back. If you count Podoboo jump, that's 3. So
for sure, that's still underrated, I think. But hopefully able to get his revenge. This trick really was mean to him last time. This turnip position is looking a little bit too close, so he at least probably has to reset up.
Yeah, that's way in the center.
Okay, that might actually be a little bit too far, but I think he can make it work still. Yeah, that's good enough. Probably getting the pan bro to clip here is way faster than last race. But maybe Sui, even after bonking, might make up a little bit of time if he gets a really good throw.
Yep. People asking, how do you spell the name of little fireballs? Well, I believe in this game they don't even call them Podoboos, right, Limb Cube? Don't you know about that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. There is like, so we actually not clip here. Let's wait until he gets the Podoboo to clip. I still don't like this one. The Podoboo is very far to the right.
Suisaiga.
That is also not gonna work.
That's third try.
That
he's
might
still very
work.
committed to this position. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently, according to chat, it's Podoboo. I was thinking it's Podabu, like with an A. Like, I wouldn't pronounce it like Podaboo, but I don't know. And I think you're right. I think in this game, they don't refer to them as Podaboos.
They're called lava bubbles in the game.
Yeah, I think they're called lava bubbles.
So, if you know how to spell lava bubble, then you know how to spell these little creatures. But in previous Mario games, and as tradition goes, we do call them Podoboos. It's a personal
You're also getting
preference.
corrected right there, but apparently they're called fire bubbles. Let's keep our facts straight. I didn't know that either. I thought it was lava bubbles.
Wow.
But whatever.
Doesn't really make sense to me,
yeah.
Considering they live in lava. Fire, I don't really see where that's coming from. I guess you do use them to light up the torches here, but...
Yeah, but aren't they like literally lava? Aren't they like liquids? I mean, whatever. This game is weird, dude. This game makes some weird decisions. It's still great, but...
Anyways, we're out of lunch in here. Not going to see any more fire bubbles for the rest of the run.
True. Yeah.
We would in Moon Kingdom if we didn't do the Moon Cave skip, but we will be doing that unless Suisaiga really decides that I don't know, that he's so sick.
Actually, I don't even know.
Last race.
I don't even know if the Moon Cave has fire bubbles. Now that I think of it, because I've been in there for like
enough.
It definitely has lava. Let's just stick with that. I mean, we are heading into ruin, which is definitely not going to allow for the most analytical commentary, other than literally counting the seconds or frames it takes them to ground pound the dragon's head. So that's obviously mostly used as our pace advertisement segment, which is once again the entire reason we are even here in the first place. So this is our fourth and also last playoffs match for Super Mario Odyssey. So we already have 3 confirmed competitors for PACE, our first live competitive speedrun event at the end of this month in Maryland. Xanadu Games is the location, the venue. It's going to be pretty hot, to say the least. But yeah, as well, we have Nicro, we have Chaos, we have Little Curbs. The three legendary contenders for the first sub one, really, like realistically, other than Goyuya, who really came in swinging at the very end and also got the second sub one. Goyuya always, he has like phases where he plays like a lot and it's getting very scary, and then probably big phases where he practices. But yeah, I mean, you couldn't really ask for a better lineup. All of the runners, I think, being in playoffs had a chance and kind of deserved to be there, but I'm very happy with the competitors we have. And I was saying earlier, like, whoever makes it from these 2 guys, I cannot wait to see these guys like race live.
Oh, likewise, I would say, you know, either one of these guys, very hyped to see them at PACE. Of course, Limcube and I will be there. You could even see Limcube at PACE if that is what you want to do. He will be doing a glitch exhibition. I've seen a little bit of the routing for that come out of the woodwork, and that is going to be super interesting. But yeah, we've reached, so I've heard we've reached over 100 attendees to PACE, and I'm sure that number will only grow as we get closer and closer.
Yeah. Yeah, I know actually a few of the local like Smash players have been commentating under like the Xanadu Twitter. They're probably just gonna go there and like register on the door because they like speedrunning. So I'm assuming that number will probably only grow. The showcases are gonna be amazing, and I mean obviously the entire environment is gonna be amazing. Like I'm super excited to meet all of you guys, and then actually since I'm gonna have to get to 1.0 anyways, where you can probably have some lab sections for the potential new Odyssey version coming out and that date. It's probably going to be pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The 1.3, the fabled VR version of Mario Odyssey. No one thought this game was going to get any updates, but I guess that is coming out during PACE, right?
It is, yeah, on the first day, so there's probably going to be some labbing.
Yeah, we might have to show that out in the glitch exhibition.
We gotta get Gimme on the Odyssey labbing. He's gonna make it work.
Bulbasaur, by the way, coming in and saying they actually are called lava bubbles. So, again, big controversy in chat on the terminology for these specific bubbles of lava, which apparently are called fire bubbles, but might be called lava bubbles.
We will never know.
Either way. We're out of Ruin here and onto Bowser's Kingdom for Stravos. A lot of technical parts of Bowser's. A lot of people say this level kind of inspired by Mario Galaxy in that the progression of it is like you gotta handle, you know, what's going on one planet and then you move to the next planet. And in a way, the different islands of Bowser's are kind of like the different planets. I don't know, I never thought about it that way until I saw it mentioned. And then I'm like, wow, this really is like the same kind of level design. But it is nonetheless extremely difficult. Stravos going up here, getting these first 2 islands fine, but Ogre, I would say, is the first like really difficult part of Bowser, which we're going to see up here. There are a few different strats. I wonder if he's going to go for a triple jump or a spin compound. Is going for that triple jump. Impressive. That is the fastest way to do it, and quite difficult.
I think for the average person, you could probably say that the Ogre is the first hard item, but SuisaigaW chooses not to make that statement true for him, because he opts to go for this strat here that he actually just missed. Tried to triple jump off of that crate and is struggling quite a bit here to actually get the backup.
Yeah, this ramp, it is used in 2-player mode runs, but in 1-player it is faster, but also difficult. About a half a second faster, so I've heard, to go up that ramp. But obviously, it's a very precise ledge, and if you bonk like that, then unfortunately not faster.
Fast way of getting the Ogre though. So now last race we actually saw both of them with some pretty solid charts. No one missed.
Oh no, missing dive back. And again
oh,
and again,
wow.
Can he get it the 3rd time? Okay, 3rd try dive back. At least you didn't fall and bonk and then get hit by the spinies and then you're getting bullied and it's just a mess. But at least we didn't do that today.
Yeah.
Both runners
That
coming
might have
through.
lost him close to as much time than Sui lost on, probably a little bit less than what Sui lost on that first island. But this is still pretty open. Now, we obviously still have Mech to go through, and that entire... Actually, also Bowser Ramp is something we still see time losses where people might not necessarily die, because optimally Cappy will be in a spot to be able to save them. But if that happens, you're obviously losing time. If you like fall down, home back, and then you have to reset up. Oh, but Sui actually not going to be able to make it on top of the roof. Gets a pretty good backup, though. Very clever thinking.
Yeah, good backup there from Sui. Usually don't see that kind of backup, but getting the last shard here from the Pokio. We're going to have to control Pokios.
Oh, and
we're not
that goes.
Here. Oh no, missing Bowser Dram.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Position. You're just going to forget Bowser Dram, Stravos. I'm just getting the moon, not going to reset this up. So you're getting the time loss on missing Bowser Dram. Also, it's a little bit slower to grab the moon from there versus before Bowser Dram, you would just grab it from the other side. So, like, I would say a lot of combined time losses there. As we're going on to the most hype part of the run.
Yeah, for sure.
And I have our
I'm gonna have to disappoint you today, Esper. I like to have the friendly banter with you if we actually have Topper first versus Harriet first, but I don't think we'll get that today. Instead, we might actually see Suisaiga show us the optimal version here of this move, because he's not only gonna get that capture warp, but he might even go for the instant dive, and he will. Actually, two strats that Stravos didn't do, so he's definitely making up some time here.
Yeah, instant dive, quite difficult to do. We do have both of these runners are Harriet first. Get your GSA H's in the chat, you know. I'm in support of the runners here, so like I said, if a runner I like, well, it depends, basically. I don't want to say I flip-flop, but hey, Stravos going here, getting Harriet. And Suisaiga about to do the same. None of them going for that optimal Harriet movement where you can do a spin count roll cancel. But Stravos looking like he's getting a pretty good topper here. GSAT in chat, by the way. Look at this one. Yeah, look how many. Okay, look at this. We got 1, 2, 3, 5 like Harriet Micro Smug emotes in chat, and you know maybe like what 30, 40, 50, like 2,000. Maybe.
So I at least want to know, like what would be if Topper would be at the left side, right? Would you still do Topper first? Is this about the character, or is it about the actual like route?
We don't have to. Both are optimal here. We've got the
No, I mean I want to know from like the Topper first fanboys.
Topper
do you guys just like going to the right, or do you like Topper more? About Rebellion?
You're
okay,
asking us to choose.
You
can't ask us to choose between the two optimal decisions here. Like it's,
okay, I mean,
it's a divine intervention that it's like it this way for a reason.
Chaos Springer opting to say that's about the character for sure. I could see that. I think I like your statement more. It's like about sending a message, you know. It's about going against the popular way, you know. Like really showing your values. Like you could have really sold a good message, but Chaos is just like it's about the character for sure. Well, whatever. Yeah. We are done.
I like that too. I like Chaos's response because then you get to say, well, look at Stravos, look at Sweet. They did Topper first in Cap Kingdom. So who's the real Topper first here today?
Once again, quickly just throwing that in there before we go into the mech. The winner of this match will not go to pace quite yet. If Stravos wins this, he takes series number 1 of up to 3. If he takes the next series and wins this game, he is going to be qualified as our 4th competitor at pace. But he still has to win this race to even win this series, and the mech is definitely going to be very detrimental for that. So let's see how this goes.
Get up, difficult parts. He gets it. So that is pretty relieved that we're getting this climb. Can he go for it? Topper before Harriet here. Bubbles on the mech. Wow, look at this, guys. Looking like he's getting the Topper bubble right here. And now Harriet 3rd. As we're going to go for target acquired. Get your sunglasses emotes ready. Your Pringle Epics. Your Tim Pools. Your Pool Story Cat. Whatever that one's called. We got them all. So yeah, prepare them for this.
Like to lift the discount line if the normal sunglass emoji works just fine. But let's see if he's at least going to be able to acquire the target, lines up well, and gets really nice dives, spin pounds in time, gets the strat. Hopefully Sui is going to be able to match it, because we are looking at almost actually the same difference than we had on that first race. I think Stravos might have a little bit of a bigger lead. We are probably looking more close to the 20 seconds area. It might be like 17, 18 seconds as far as his lead is concerned right now. If Suisaiga gets that strat, he's going to be able to ground pound Harriet in
but
time.
It all depends on Suisaiga getting this. 1, 2, 3. Target acquired.
Good job.
Pretty
Let's
nice
see.
from these runners here today. And we are getting out of Bowser's. The longest cutscenes in the run here. I bet Limcube is rolling around right here because these cutscenes are frustratingly long. You know, we need to find a way to skip them.
I guess you have
Limcube.
one more time to take like a little bit of a breather, but it's actually like 1 minute and 5 seconds from touching the moon, and then it's like another 30 seconds before you get to play the game in Moon.
Yeah, definitely looking for that wrong warp here. If anyone's got any ideas, give us. We'll be on it. I would say the routing through.
Just globe and Moon. I heard is the new thing.
Globe and Moon, that is possible. Hey, I mean, actually, you can.
Yeah, I know.
With
I
the
watched that.
practice mod. You can globe and moon and go straight to mushrooms. So how about that? Maybe everyone just install the practice mod.
Actually, in this big cutscene, we can explain that because I think that's a cool story. So there's this practice mode floating around, and we actually tested globing on Moon. And for some reason, there's like an actual animation, right? That like shows us the way to Mushroom, which that doesn't exist because you just land in Mushroom after you fight Bowser, right? It's pretty weird, but that's actually in the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I figure on Revisit, right? You can get that animation, I think. Like when you're revisiting.
You know
Moon.
what? Actually, technically, that doesn't even exist because that line technically goes from Darker Side to Mushroom, you know?
Oh.
Like, there's never actually a line from Moon to Mushroom.
I guess so. I don't know. Yeah, I've actually, there's some other really weird glitches too. Like I've seen once, like the Odyssey shows up in a broken state in Cap because, yeah, I don't know if you saw that part, but there are some very weird things. As we're getting these guys about to do vectors here. Meanwhile, Stravos having to do a cap throw before the dive to ensure that angle. I mean, perhaps it was the smart move, but losing time and a long jump here. Wow, this is really rough movement at the beginning for Stravos, not usually having to do that long jump, but we're going on to the Moon Cave skip.
Yeah.
Stravos perhaps having memories haunted by the time that he lost a PB pace run at the time, going against Lil Curbs to this skip, but looking like he's pretty good here. No camera glitches today.
Yeah, this time he's taking his time there on top of the ledge, something we've been observing, because I think that was in one of these races where Stravos actually didn't get his cap dive refreshed, since that higher ledge didn't actually, the game didn't register him actually walking, so it was still he was still considered airborne. So let's hope Suisaiga doesn't get those weird shenanigans again, is once again going to be taking his time, is going to be getting the dive this time. So we still have a race, because Bowser obviously is in the game. A missed phase here, especially the third one, would make this very close if we also take pillars into consideration.
Yeah, pillars, I don't know, I mean, like, right now Stravos does have enough of a lead that, like, if he nails everything, he'll be fine, but you miss a few Bowser hacks right here, and it's over. Or certainly if he takes a 2D skip death, I would say it's over. So, hoping these guys can finish off strong. Stravos takes this and he's got the match and he's done for the day. Doesn't have to do another one.
Right.
So definitely that's what Stravos is hoping for. He's hoping to end it as fast as possible. Maybe hoping that Stravos could get the next two as well to get the ticket to pace in 4 races. But we're going over the deadly flamethrower attack of Bowser right here. Very deadly. Just do one single jump over it. You can even, if you start a roll, that gives you enough height to jump over the floor scan of the flamethrower attack.
Stravos is going to be able to get that last fast head. So as long as he doesn't jump into one of Bowser's swipes right here, he should be good to go going into escape. Now escape is the one section where if you make a crucial mistake, and a crucial mistake in escape is dying, or like really missing pillars like for several seconds. There's like the two things. Like if a death happens to him, he is behind. I don't really think it's feasible to think that he could lose a lead like that in pillars, because it's too big for it to be actually like shattered there. But let's observe this anyways. Actually, overall this run is still solid. I think there won't be really an argument still possible for like a 1-0-0, but a low 101 is definitely on the table.
Yeah, and a low 101 would still be one of Stravos' greatest races. Of course, he has, you know, kind of popped off, and he has gotten 1-0 in races before, and even his PB. But hey, he's coming up here, about to do this 2D skip. Get hyped, because 2D skip Definitely a GSA S moment. In fact, GSA S kind of exists, I would say. I'd like to think that emote exists for 2D skip as he gets it.
It's actually pretty much exactly happening there, since Cappy is on Bowser's head at the time. It's just in 2D.
But also a GSA S moment is the invisible, because Cappy is on Bowser's head at this moment, and that is something that can happen. If that happens, that makes we're here for another hour if that happens, Limcube.
Absolutely.
But I would be happy to be here for another hour. I really would. So let's.
The thing is, this
see
invisible
what
wall
happens.
is preventable. It kind of happens when you claw or shoot a fireball as that last pillar is falling. The game gets confused and actually doesn't let you walk to the core. We've only seen it once in a race here, happening to the corpse, actually making him lose the match. But let's look at those pillars right now. Stravos getting some nice shots off. He is having his eyes set on the cube on the middle section here. And as you brought up, looking to close out this first series. Actually missing one fireball, weirdly enough, shooting it very far to the right. But this one should
looks
hit.
like maybe a stick drift sort of thing. But stick drift or not, he's getting through here. About to finish off his game here, which would finish off this match, giving it to Stravos, taking a very low 101. Very nice. As Suisaiga about to do the same, but GG's to both runners today. GG's to Stravos for his finishing time, 101.12. You see it, 2-0. Stravos taking that first match. Very impressive. After Sweet finishes, we might have some of these runners in call for interviews.
GG's to Strav, taking the first series 2-0, another 2-0 so far. But I mean, it's definitely worth to say that these races have been very close. We've seen big differences, but this one is a 21-second difference. And obviously the first race also very, very close up until that last mistake that Sui made on Moonskip. But I think at least Stravos is going to give us some thoughts on this first match. He obviously just took this one 2-0. So first point to you, Strav. GG's. Run it back to me. How does it feel to have that first one secured?
That very first match, or the first run we did, man, I did not think that I deserved to win that one. I think both of us felt pretty crappy about ourselves in that race. If I know Sui at all, he's pretty disappointed in at least that race as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to think that changing your date might mess with motion control calibration. I've been watching closely, and every time we change the date for verification, I'm gonna recalibrate motion controls immediately after as well from now on, because that first race did not feel good. My controller was all over the place. I made mistakes of my own too that were completely my fault, but like half of them, I just felt lousy. So I mean, this one worked out a lot better.
I was actually mentioning that, like, that turnip clip looked pretty weird when you couldn't actually recapture that guy.
Like, my motion controls just wouldn't work sometimes, and I really need a new controller soon because my left stick is real wobbly, you know? It makes it very hard to do chest clip and, like, fine movements like placing the pan bro. So I gotta relearn them. I gotta completely relearn them if I want to keep using this controller, which I'm trying to be frugal about it and not buy so many controllers, you know? So I gotta figure out how to evolve my strats for potential bad controllers, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you know, a win's a win, and yeah, definitely Stravos here with the big brain strats, thinking about all those like little things to optimize, which does make sense, I would say. You know, to be fully in control of the console, fully in control of the game, and to know why everything happens. That's like very much a good mindset to be in, I would say. And yeah, GG's to taking this first set. What are you thinking about this? The second match that will take place. What are your thoughts about that? How are you gonna? What are you doing in between now and then?
Well, I'm definitely going to be playing a lot. I think I'll do a lot of no resets, or at least more no resets than I normally do. Because I think I kind of lucked out a bit. I think Suisaiga is not quite in form because he's been playing a lot of Sekiro. So I think he'll be much better next time. At least that's what I'm going to plan for.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised. Like, I think his performance overall didn't seem too flawed at all, because I know he's obviously been putting a bunch of time into that game. He's been getting really good at it really fast. But I think, I mean, he had some big issues, the one in Luncheon, and especially the dumb death there at Moonskip. But overall, good performance from both of you. But you still slightly edged him out and got the win. So good job, obviously, Strav, taking this serious. Still one series to be done for you. If you get the next series, you will be our fourth and last competitor for Odyssey at pace. So we might come back swinging, though, as you mentioned. Let's see what his plans are for this one. It's obviously also up to him how much practice he wants to do for this. But I can't wait for this one happening Wednesday, guys. Next series between Stravos and Sui, potentially the last one, but might also be the second out of 3. So let's see how that develops. Espa, thank you for hopping in here for that second race on Cole commentary. Commentary was obviously a lot more enjoyable having someone with you enjoying the experience. But good stuff, guys. Thank you for watching this series. Very exciting stuff. Make sure to stay tuned, though, because after a little bit of a break, we are going to be having another Celeste playoff match as well. Obviously, these guys still fighting for the spots that pays themselves. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and see you at least on Wednesday when it's time for the next series between Stravos and Sui.
GG's. Peace.